Jerry Lewis wasn't just a king of comedy. He was a mystery. A man who made millions laugh while quietly carrying secrets he never dared to share. From secret affairs with Hollywood legends to disowning his entire family and a final confession that shocked everyone. This is not the Jerry Lewis you thought you knew. Today, we pull back the curtain on the twisted, brilliant, and heartbreaking life of Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was born Joseph Levitch on March 16, 1926, in Newark, New Jersey. He was born into a family steeped in show business. His father, Daniel "Danny" Levitch, was a vaudeville performer, and his mother, Rachel, played piano for a local radio station. It was only natural that young Jerry would be drawn to the spotlight. He made his first appearance on stage at the age of 5, and by his teenage years he was already performing in nightclubs, with a self-devised lip-sync act to popular records. A concept that predated the era of modern music videos and set the tone for his inventive approach to comedy. In 1946, Jerry Lewis met a young, smooth-voiced nightclub singer named Dean Martin. Together, they formed the comedy duo Martin and Lewis, which would become one of the most beloved and successful partnerships in entertainment history, with Dean playing the charming straight man and Jerry acting as the wild, unpredictable comic. The pair brought a fresh and electrifying energy to stage, radio, television, and film. They quickly rose to stardom with their infectious chemistry, starring in a string of box office hits during the late 1940s and 1950s, such as My Friend Irma, 1949, At War with the Army, 1950, and Scared Stiff, 1953. Their appeal was so widespread that they became the highest-paid performers in the world at one point. However, the duo's partnership ended abruptly in 1956. After 10 years together, due to creative differences and growing personal tensions. Despite their split, both men went on to achieve great individual success. After parting ways with Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis embarked on an extraordinary solo career. He signed a lucrative contract with Paramount Pictures and began writing, directing, and starring in a series of comedy films that solidified his reputation as a visionary. Among his most acclaimed works was The Nutty Professor, 1963, a hilarious and heartfelt reimagining of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in which Lewis played both the awkward, nerdy Julius Kelp and his suave alter ego, Buddy Love. The film showcased not only Lewis's comic range, but also his ability to blend pathos with humor, a hallmark of his most successful performances. Lewis also revolutionized the filmmaking process. He invented the video assist system, a technique that allowed directors to review takes immediately after shooting. This innovation became a standard in the film industry and is still used today. His directing style, marked by elaborate gags, fast pacing, and physical comedy, greatly influenced future generations of comedians and filmmakers, including Woody Allen, Jim Carrey, and Martin Scorsese. While Jerry Lewis was a major star in the United States, his influence reached even greater heights in Europe, particularly in France, where he was revered as a comedic genius. French critics and film scholars praised his technical brilliance, his control of tone and timing, and his surrealistic humor. In fact, France awarded Lewis numerous honors, including the prestigious Legion of Honor, the country's highest order of merit. Although American critics often dismissed his later films as silly or outdated, French intellectuals viewed him as an auteur, in the same vein as Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Beyond his contributions to entertainment, Jerry Lewis was a tireless humanitarian. He became synonymous with the Muscular Dystrophy Association and was the face of its annual Labor Day telethon for over 4 decades. Starting in 1966, Lewis hosted the telethon every year, raising more than $2.5 billion for muscular dystrophy research during his lifetime. His dedication to the cause earned him international acclaim and numerous humanitarian awards, including the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in 2009. Lewis's relationship with the MDA was not without controversy. He stepped down from hosting duties in 2011 amid some public disputes. But the magnitude of his contributions cannot be overstated. His commitment helped bring visibility, funding, and hope to millions of families affected by neuromuscular diseases. In his later years, Jerry Lewis enjoyed a resurgence of appreciation. He returned to acting in more dramatic roles, such as in The King of Comedy, 1982, where he starred opposite Robert De Niro, in a dark satire directed by Martin Scorsese. His performance, subdued and introspective, proved his versatility as an actor and earned him critical praise. Lewis also received a number of Lifetime Achievement honors, including accolades from the American Comedy Awards, the Los Angeles Film Critics Association, and the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. He was a guest on numerous late-night talk shows, where his sharp wit and storytelling reminded audiences of his enduring brilliance. Jerry Lewis married Patty Palmer, born Esther Grace Colonico on October 3, 1944. Palmer, a talented singer, had performed with the orchestra of Ted Fiorito, one of the popular big band leaders of the swing era. Their union came at a pivotal time in Lewis's life, as his comedy partnership with Dean Martin was beginning to take shape and launch him into national stardom. The marriage between Lewis, who was of Jewish heritage, and Palmer, a devout Catholic, was an interfaith one, something relatively uncommon and socially challenging at the time, particularly in the mid-1940s. Despite potential religious and cultural tensions, the couple forged ahead and remained together for more than 3 decades. Together, Jerry and Patty had 6 sons, 5 of whom were their biological children. Their firstborn, Gary Lewis, arrived in 1945 and would go on to become a pop musician in the 1960s, fronting the successful band Gary Lewis and the Playboys, known for hits like This Diamond Ring. The other 4 biological sons were Scott, born 1956, Christopher, born 1957, Anthony, born 1959, and Joseph, born 1964. Tragically, Joseph Lewis died by suicide in 2009 at the age of 45, following a long struggle with narcotics addiction. In addition to their biological children, Jerry and Patty adopted a son named Ronald, who was born in 1949. The Lewis household was large and bustling, reflective of the entertainer's public image as a big-hearted, family-oriented comedian. However, as the years went by, that wholesome image contrasted sharply with reports of strained relationships within the family. While still married to Palmer, Lewis is believed to have fathered a daughter named Susan Minaret, also known as Susan Lewis, born in 1952 with Lynn Dixon Kleinman, a former fashion model and showgirl. Susan has long claimed to be Jerry Lewis's biological daughter, and in adulthood, she pursued legal and public recognition of that claim. Although Lewis never publicly acknowledged her as his child, a DNA test conducted in later years indicated an 88.7% probability that Susan was indeed related to Gary Lewis, further strengthening the argument that she was Jerry Lewis's biological daughter. Susan reportedly endured difficult times and lived for years in poverty and homelessness, further intensifying public scrutiny over Lewis's refusal to acknowledge or support her in any meaningful way. Lewis's extramarital affairs were no secret to the public or his family. Throughout his marriage to Palmer, he openly pursued romantic relationships with other women. And in later years, he even discussed these affairs without remorse. In a 2011 interview with People magazine, Lewis confessed to having had affairs with some of the biggest female icons of Hollywood's golden era, including Marilyn Monroe and Marlene Dietrich. His candid, unapologetic tone about these liaisons revealed much about his personality and views on fame, fidelity, and power within Hollywood. For Patty Palmer, however, these betrayals and the ongoing emotional toll proved too much. After 35 years of marriage, she filed for divorce in 1980, citing Lewis's chronic infidelity and out-of-control spending habits. The divorce was finalized in 1983, formally ending one of the longest celebrity marriages of its time. The aftermath of their divorce cast a long shadow over Lewis's relationships with his children. In a surprising and controversial decision, Jerry Lewis disinherited all 6 of his sons from his marriage to Palmer, as well as their children, his grandchildren. This decision was explicitly stated in his will, which left his estate to his second wife and their daughter. The exclusion led to widespread speculation about deep familial rifts. His eldest son, Gary, publicly denounced his father in interviews, calling him a mean and evil person. He alleged that Lewis was emotionally distant, cruel, and unloving toward his children, claiming they never received affection or validation from him. These statements painted a far more complicated and painful picture of Lewis's private life than his public image suggested. Following the dissolution of his first marriage, Lewis found love again with Sandra Sammy Pitnick, a woman 25 years his junior. Pitnick was a classically trained ballerina who had studied at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. She later became a flight attendant and appeared in a minor dancing role in Lewis's film Hardly Working, 1980, which is how the two met. Their relationship quickly blossomed, and they were married on February 13, 1983, in Key Biscayne, Florida. Unlike his first marriage, Lewis's union with Pitnick was notably more private, and by most accounts, harmonious. The couple adopted a daughter, Danielle Sarah Lewis, who was born in 1992. Lewis spoke with pride and affection about Danielle, often describing her as a source of joy in his later years. The marriage endured for 34 years until Lewis's death in 2017, and Pitnick remained by his side throughout his health battles and final years. Despite his monumental fame and status as a pioneering comedian, Jerry Lewis's legacy is deeply intertwined with complex family dynamics, strained paternal relationships, and unresolved personal controversies. His public life was filled with accolades, laughter, and admiration, while his private life often told a more somber, fractured story of broken relationships, unacknowledged offspring, and lasting emotional scars left on those closest to him. In a surprising revelation that added yet another layer to the already colorful tapestry of his legacy, Jerry Lewis once confided that he had a secret romantic relationship with a prominent gay actress of old Hollywood. Though known for his slapstick humor, humanitarian work, and creative genius in the film industry, Lewis occasionally dropped cryptic clues about his off-screen relationships. This confession came years after both stars had seen the height of their fame, and it offered a rare glimpse into the hidden personal lives that many actors of that era were forced to lead behind closed doors. According to Lewis, their relationship took place during a time when Hollywood's studio system maintained a tight grip on the public images of its stars, enforcing morality clauses and orchestrating every detail of their personal and professional lives. Homosexuality, in particular, was taboo and often considered career-ending. As such, many gay and lesbian actors were compelled to enter into so-called lavender marriages, or remain completely closeted. Against this backdrop, Jerry Lewis's clandestine romance with a lesbian actress was not only daring, it was potentially dangerous for both parties' careers. Though Lewis never named the actress outright during his lifetime, he did provide tantalizing hints that have fueled decades of speculation. She was, he claimed, beautiful, brilliant, and far more courageous than anyone ever gave her credit for. He described their relationship as one grounded in genuine affection, a deep emotional connection, and mutual respect. While he acknowledged that she primarily preferred women, Lewis insisted that their bond transcended the boundaries of conventional romance. "She let me in," he once said, "not because she needed to pretend with me, but because she trusted me. We were kindred spirits in a town full of phonies." Industry insiders and classic film historians have suggested a handful of names that fit the profile Lewis described. Among the most frequently speculated are actresses like Barbara Stanwyck, Marlene Dietrich, and Talia Bankhead, each known not only for her talent and charisma, but also for complex personal lives and long-standing rumors about same-sex relationships. Tallulah, in particular, was famously open about her bisexuality in private circles, and is known to have had affairs with both men and women. Dietrich, too, was bold in her androgynous style and romantic preferences, often challenging the gender norms of her day. The idea that Lewis dated a closeted actress during the golden age of Hollywood also brings to light the surprising emotional depth and sensitivity of the man often remembered for his zany on-screen antics. Behind the pratfalls and exaggerated facial expressions was a man capable of profound empathy. He understood the pain of living a double life, even if only by proxy. In interviews, he occasionally hinted at how frustrating it was to love someone who could never truly reveal herself to the world. She carried a burden, he once mused, that would have crushed most men. According to Lewis, the affair was never about publicity, or even the thrill of the forbidden. It was a safe harbor for two people who found solace in each other's company. He was respectful of her identity and boundaries, and their relationship was characterized more by quiet evenings of conversation, laughter, and shared vulnerability than by the typical tabloid-fueled romance. It was a secret, yes, he said, but not a shameful one. If the world had been different, maybe we could have been something more. Jerry Lewis, the legendary comedian, actor, filmmaker, and humanitarian, passed away peacefully at his home in Las Vegas, Nevada, on August 20th, 2017, at the age of 91. His death marked the end of a prolific and often controversial career, one that spanned over 7 decades, and left an indelible mark on the worlds of entertainment and philanthropy. According to the Clark County Coroner's Office, the official causes of death were end-stage cardiac disease and peripheral artery disease, conditions often resulting from prolonged heart-related complications and poor circulation. Lewis had suffered multiple heart attacks over the course of his life. Beginning in the early 1980s, he underwent several surgeries, including open heart surgery in 1983. In addition to heart problems, he lived with chronic back pain, diabetes, pulmonary fibrosis, and a dependency on prescription drugs, all of which made his final years increasingly difficult. Following his death, Lewis's body was cremated in accordance with his wishes. His cremation marked a quiet, understated end to a man who had lived such a flamboyant and public life. While his passing was met with an outpouring of tributes from fellow entertainers, fans, and organizations he had supported, including the Muscular Dystrophy Association, his private farewell remained intimate and personal. In matters of inheritance, Jerry Lewis's final will and testament revealed a decision that sparked considerable media attention and public debate. He chose to leave his estate to his second wife of 34 years, Sandy Pitnick, and their daughter, Danielle. Significantly, Lewis's will explicitly excluded all 6 of his sons from his first marriage to singer Patty Palmer. The couple had 6 sons together, including 1 adopted son. The will stated clearly that they would receive no benefits, in any way, shape, or form. The decision to disinherit them entirely generated a great deal of speculation and controversy. Some saw it as the final chapter in a long history of strained family relations. Several of Lewis's sons had publicly discussed the difficulties they experienced growing up, citing emotional distance and alleged mistreatment. One son, Joseph Lewis, tragically died of a drug overdose in 2009, which deepened the perception of a fractured family dynamic. Others have argued that Lewis's decision was likely influenced by personal grievances and complex family histories that were never fully shared with the public. The disinheritance served as a reminder that despite his public image as a comedic genius and tireless fundraiser for children with disabilities, Jerry Lewis's private life was often fraught with conflict, contradictions, and unresolved pain. His legacy, while secure in the pantheon of American entertainment, is also marked by the complexities of fame, personal fallibility, and the enduring challenge of reconciling public acclaim with private truth. He made the world laugh, but couldn't always make his own family smile. Behind the legend of Jerry Lewis was a man full of contradictions, beloved and bitter, generous and guarded, brilliant and broken. His comedy changed the world, but his pain was often hidden in plain sight. If this story moved you, if it made you see Jerry Lewis in a new light, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to LGBTQ+ Vibes, because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones Hollywood never dared to tell.